Hi, and thanks for checking out July's edition of Northern BC News for real estate investors. It's been another good month for LNG in British Columbia, which is in turn a good month for real estate in Northeast BC. The government's been moving a couple of things forward. Number one, they've signed a memorandum of understanding with the Chinese government. Essentially, what this is it's a framework under which both the Chinese and the British Columbian governments are going to work so that they can collaborate on moving these LNG projects forward. And one of the great pieces of evidence that this is working is that they've actually also just signed an agreement to allow Chinese temporary foreign workers to come into Canada to work on these LNG projects. And this is great news for a couple of reasons. Number one, unemployment is almost at 0% in Northeast BC right now. And there's not a lot of workers available. So you have some workers moving in from other parts of Canada, but you're going to need workers coming in from other parts of the world because there are so many jobs being created in these areas. And second, the reason that this is very nice for real estate investors is that most often when you have foreign workers coming in, almost 100% of the time these are going to be renters. And this is going to be a great boon to the rental market especially in Northeast BC and also in Northwest BC. So I expect this to be very, very good news for investors there. On the LNG plant front, a number of projects have taken steps forward this month. The first being Steelhead LNG, who plans to invest $30 billion on their LNG project, which is now going to be located in Vancouver Island. They've decided that it's going to be located in a town of Anakla, about 200 kilometers northwest of Victoria. Great news on that plant, and they expect first shipments to be coming out approximately 2022. The good news with this particular company is that it's backed by a Canadian firm, so you don't have any of the same rules and regulations that apply to foreign companies doing these projects in Canada. Number two, Woodside Petroleum has applied for their 25-year export permit. This is a plant that's just north of Prince Rupert on Grassy Point. And third, Encana has also announced this month that they've sold their Bighorn play in Alberta for $1.8 billion. Why this is important is because they're taking those monies and they're investing it in their 5 core assets, one of which is the Montney play right outside of Dawson Creek. Now, one of the big reasons that Encana is focusing on this play around Dawson Creek is that it's what's called liquids rich. So when they pull the natural gas out of the ground, it's not just natural gas. There are other products that come up with the natural gas: butane, propane, condensate, a number of these products that are worth a lot of money. So what this allows the producers to do is to have higher profit margins. So even when natural gas prices are lower, it allows them to still profitably take the natural gas out of the ground, which is why Encana has chosen the Montney play as one of the plays they're going to focus on. This is great news for Dawson Creek as they move a lot of workers into the area that are also going to be your renters. Also, there's some big news for Fort St. John this month. They have agreed to their boundary extension. Fort St. John desperately needed to expand their boundaries a little bit so that they can handle all of the people that are moving in. The population growth is happening pretty rapidly. In 2013 they had planned to take 180 parcels of land out of the agricultural land reserve and bring it into the city. The majority of the people, or the majority of those landowners, opposed this, and this year they've come back and they've managed to get, out of those 180, they actually only got 9 parcels of land. So while they need this, and they actually need more land in order to expand, this is what they've gotten for now. I believe this is going to continue to keep upward pressure on housing prices and rents in the area, as supply is going to be constrained just with the lack of land to build on. So while I do still believe that they're going to need to continue to expand, this could be a very good thing for real estate investors. The housing market is going very strong in Fort St. John. The average house in Fort St. John is taking about 27 days to sell. It continues to be a seller's market. An article came out this month stating that they believe the market's going to go up about another 8% this year. And I believe we're actually just at the beginning of some great growth in Fort St. John and Dawson Creek, just because I'm going to put a little graph up here on the screen. You can see the capital spending, or the money that's getting poured into these regions here over the next decade or two. And you can see that we're at the beginning of actually a huge wave of spending. And what that spending does is it creates jobs in the region. Of course, jobs bring in people, and and people rent your places and push up the rents, and those of course in turn push up the property values. So I still believe that Fort St. John and Dawson Creek have a lot of runway ahead of them. If anybody has any questions about the projects that we have there, we have townhomes, duplexes, single family homes, a number of products with turnkey packages in place and special packages for out-of-town investors. Please don't hesitate to give me a call, send me an email, and I'd love to get in touch with you to see if there's a fit for you. As always, thanks for tuning in. I look forward to talking to you again next month. Thanks.